Okay, I'm especially pleased to welcome Muheue to the stage. I've known Muheue for 7 years. He's been a fellow conference organizer, roommate on desert trips, and he's an indefatigable contributor to the open source software movement in Namibia and elsewhere in Africa too. So he's the spirit of commitment. But I will let Muheue tell you his own story, so please give him a big welcome. Off you go.
Yeah, I think it's okay. It's okay? Yeah. Do you guys hear me? I think the sound is... Yeah. Hello? Okay. My name is Ngazetungue Muheue, and I'm from Namibia. Today I'll be talking to you about a programmer that needs a donkey cart, and that programmer is me and you, someone from the community, someone from any part of the world. I'm a farmer, and I'm from a Bahimba tribe, and I'm an open source software community organizer and a software developer, a Python Software Foundation fellow, and Django Software Foundation member, and a PyCon Namibia organizer. I've been organizing PyCon Namibia since 2016, and I'm one of the co-founders of Python community in Namibia. I'm from Namibia. Namibia is a small country in southern part of Africa, and Namibia is surrounded by a desert. It's one of the hottest countries in Africa, and I think Namibia is different from this country. Here it's much cold, and the weather, I haven't experienced this before, and I'm one of the people who haven't seen even a snow in my life, and I wanted to see that. Hopefully, maybe one day. Yeah. In Namibia, I came from the northern part of the country, in Kunene region. This is one of the regions that's where most people who live here, they are not really educated, or they are educated, but they don't have that skill to become maybe a software contributor. The tech was introduced to them after independence, that is 1990. And I spent most of my life there. I came from the northern part of the country, but I was raised here. This is a small village that carry my memories. This is a small village that doesn't have even electricity. There's no network, but we prefer to stay like this. We want to preserve our culture. We don't need any modern infrastructures. But this village produced many people, a person like me, who is here today. But I needed people to become who I am. I needed people to take me out of this village to come here. That's where my journey started. After having said so, let me put it this way again. Before I become a software developer or the community contributor, I involved in car accident, and I had a severe accident, something that forced me to stay in the hospital for 1 year without moving, without doing anything. But I had that things in my mind that I need to support people. I need to come up with software that will help me and the next generation, which means that while I'm in hospital, I was forcing my doctor that you can do whatever you are doing, but remember that I have to go back to my community. I need my people. If I'm going to stay like this without moving, then I have to find a way maybe to develop application, develop software that will assist me, maybe to write, to talk. That's text to speech, or speech to, yeah. Then Because of that, I'm coming from the remote area of Kunene region, but our people believe more, they are more traditional. If you are living with disability, sometimes they will never allow you to take part in events, but I have to force things. Now I have to convince them, or I have to find a way to move out of this. Then I needed my people and my donkey cart to move out of the village. These two people, the first one, the other one in front of our donkey, he never went to school. The other small one, by that time, I think he was in grade 3 or 4. But these people, I talked to them. I told them that I want to become someone in life. But they helped me to become someone. They helped me throughout my journey. They took me into the doggy cart. Then they were pushing me to go to the city. That's why I'm saying that every programmer needs a donkey cart. Every programmer needs someone to succeed. For you to achieve something, you need someone. To have a better community, you need people. If you want to have a better product after 20 years, you need a community. You need the next generation. You need people who is going to take over if you die. This is what we are talking about. But what is open source project? What is open source software? It's not about coding. Okay, here maybe in Western world it's about coding, but there it's not about coding. Our people were introduced to software maybe 10 or 15 years back. But here in Western world, every day people talk about software and development, open source project, but our people don't know anything about this. Open source is all about writing the same donkey card. It's all about assisting each other. It's all about helping each other. It's all about bringing skill or technology to people. Now, in Namibia is a small country, and we got our independence in 1990. That's 32 years back now. But our country depends more on open source software or project from other parts of the world. But we do not have that strong community to take us forward, which means that most of the time, if we want to have like an application, we have to outsource someone from outside. And our generation don't want that. We want to have our own developer. We want to have our own contributors. Now, we have to go around and sit with people and try to talk to people and find out who are the contributors. How do they contribute to open source project? How do they become a software developer? But what do they want to become a contributor? Looking at my, is it a figure now? It's saying 90% of these people are contributor. But one thing that you need to understand when it comes to Namibia open source community, contributing is totally different from what you guys know. Contributing is not only about coding, it's about building the community. We believe more into building the community of the next generation. We want, some of us who went to the university, who finished the university, we want to go out there, talk to our people who are left behind, give them skills or introduce them to new technology so that maybe in the next 10 or 15 years, they will start also contributing. We don't really believe more into sitting there and coding or fixing bugs. But we do have those ones who can do that, but we believe more in creating the next generation of contributor. Then how do we contribute? If you look at this figure, you could also see that 50% of these people, they contribute through building community. Let's say if you have a Ubuntu community, Then what I will do is that I'm going to start like a user group in my community, in my local community. Then we will start maybe inviting experts from outside. They will talk to us about Ubuntu. They will talk to us about Django. They will talk to us about Python. That's how we contribute. Here is a profile of the community. One thing that I have also learned that most of our people use Ubuntu for contributing. Most of the people use Python, and most of the people, like 60% of these people, they have more than 7 years experience of contributing. Then most of the people use Python for teaching at the university, which is a good thing, because for us, we feel like if I know how to code in Python, it's better to transfer my knowledge to someone else than sitting there doing things on your own. But if you are teaching the next generation at the university, after 10 or 20 years, these people are still going to have that skill, which means that they are going to pass to the next generation as well. That is, now it's time we have to build the community. How do you do it? All of us, we are good coder, we are programmer, but we don't have that skill or knowledge of building the community. Some people, they are expert, but they don't know how to engage people. People are coming from different backgrounds. We have different way of behaving. We have different way of approaching things. What works in West doesn't work in Africa. That is one thing that we need to understand when it comes to contributing or building the community. Our people, you can't come there and start coding. People want to see things with their own eyes. You can't come to them and say it's Ubuntu. What is Ubuntu to them? You are talking to someone who have never seen a computer before, and you are talking about Ubuntu. What is Ubuntu? You need to have a welcoming culture, which means that you have to have a code of conduct. That is one thing. You don't need to discriminate. You don't need to go out there and say that I'm rich and I'm giving you this. People, they don't care about your money. They need skill. You need to define the process, which means that we want to build the next generation of contributor and programmers, and you have to have a stage. What you are teaching to someone at the university level, you can't teach to someone in grade 1 or 2 in Africa. It's totally different. People need to know, or let's say if you are talking about creating application with Python, what are those applications you are talking about? Does these people interested in web development? No. Kids need games. You have to start from there. That's a process now. You have to introduce the right tools. What works in Western world doesn't work in Africa or in Namibia. If our industry is dominated by Python or Java, how can you introduce maybe JavaScript? You can introduce JavaScript as a language, but you should also look at the usage of JavaScript in the community. Are people really interested in that? You need to introduce right tools at the right times. You need to grow with people as well. Because what happens is that if we introduce Ubuntu to people and you go back to United States, do you think those people will take you serious? Which means that if you are there and you don't have time to spend with them, you need to grow someone down there to take over once you leave. Which means that it will be like a process now. I'll give you these skills, and after 2 years, you have to transfer that skill to someone. That's what we need in open source community. If you look at this, he's a high school learner, and we raised this kid, and she helped us to give a workshop to a community member. And she's one of the good programmer, and she's one of the good open source organizer, which means that she helps us to organize events, conferences, giving talks to other kids, and that way it's also helped us to force young people to come forward when they see other people taking, other small kids taking part in our own event. The next generation of Namibian contributor now. We said that Namibia depends on open source project, but we need to have people. Who are those people? These young people. What we did is that we started what we call PyNam and the PyNam Scholars. PyNam is a Python Namibia software community. PyNam is just one of the subgroup of PyNam. This one is focused more on high school learners. What we do in Namibia is that we created, we established branches of Python community in each school, which means that most of the time we go to our community, we talk to them, we introduce different software, we introduce competition, then all these schools comes together, then they compete against each other. The whole aim of this, it was to introduce just Python and open source software to them. But all these people, they also face challenges. Imagine you are going to the northern part of the country, and these people, they don't have electricity. These people, they have never seen a computer, and you want to introduce Python to them. That's not going to work. What we do mostly, we give them our computer to code on, just for that week. Or sometimes if we have like maybe donations, we go there, we donate like computer to them. People, they don't need money. People, they need tools. You don't need to go to people and say that I have this 500 million. We don't care about your money, but we care about what we are getting from you, the skill. We need resources. The achievement, these people, they achieved a lot. In Namibia, what happened is that we used to have what we call a national programming competition. That is one way of trying to fit out different programmer, different contributor. We bring them together. These people, they compete against each other at the national level now. Now these kids under Python Namibia community, they have been doing quite well. I think they won this competition 2 times or 3 times. And the other time they came second. And this way, it's also motivate other kids from the community to start taking part into our community activity. And also we have what we call PyCon Namibia. PyCon is known everywhere. And our government also introduced what we call ICT Summit. This is a platform where our government bring youth or young people together to start showcasing their project. If maybe I create something within Ubuntu, I will just go there, I will be given a platform, and I will talk to the government about that project. Then later on, the government will take over. Or next time, maybe they will invite someone from Canonical to come and also give the presentations to the nation about that product. That is one thing that the government is doing, which is something that we are happy with. And also we discuss more about the challenge facing the industry globally and in our country, which means that since we also depend on other parts of the world, whatever affecting people in Germany is also affecting Namibia, which means that if we are able to produce, if we are able to have a solutions to a certain maybe challenges, it will also help the country or our leader to take a right decision at the right time. Because we are trying to move away from a traditional way of doing things to the new way of doing things, I can say, or technology, I can say that. The next, this one is the programming competition that I've talked about. The next platform is Namibian Development Network. This is actually, it's a network or a group of people from different, who use different programming language. Here we don't discriminate. We talk about Java, we talk about Python, we bring these people together. Then if someone from the Java community came up with maybe a solution to solve a certain problems, us from the Python community, we also involve. We try to implement the same solution within Python. That is one way of trying to bring these people together. Would you like to write a donkey card with us? That is one question that you should also ask yourself. But how to do it? You need to build a community in your local area. Your people need you more than us. You need to support international tech community. You don't need to go there. Sometimes if you have a documentation you can send to people. People need that. You need to start giving talks, workshops. You need to start volunteering to different conferences. People need your skill. I said people, they don't need money anymore. People need skills. We need to go forward. Also, there is different open source community like Ubuntu. You can also go through their website and find out how people join and how people contribute to open source. We also have a Django Software Foundation as well, which is more closer to my heart. And I think you also need to go there and find out how people contribute. They have a good community. After that, we also have PyCon Namibia. If next year it will be in 21 February to 23rd in Windhoek, our capital city. If you want to join our movement, you need to talk to me, Jessica, Daniele, and we are waiting for you in Namibia. I told you Namibia is just a desert. Yeah, it's totally different from this side. And thank you.
Thank you, Muheue. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much. I think we've got time for some very short questions. Please keep them short and clear. Who's first? Anyone got the hand up? There's a question over there. Here at the front.
Brilliant presentation. Thank you very much. Are you open to presenting to my company and educating them on how to get engagement on communities and whatever else? Because I think you were spot on the money. It's more of a comment to say thank you, that was great, rather than the question. And I may actually catch up with you later to talk about PyCon Namibia. So thanks.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much for the real cool presentation. My question to you was, do you run into this problem that I'm also seeing in my community where the students, when they are graduating and have to go into the workforce, they tend to move away from this because of the lack of availability of hardware or time? Or similarly, is this something that you run into? And if you do, is there anything that you do that you have seen that works?
Can get it to work. Get that question?
Did you manage to catch the question?
Yeah.
It was a little bit hard to hear.
Sorry. It is one of the things that I notice a lot is that when the students and the young people, when they get introduced to this open source community, but then when they go into the workforce, into working, either through financial hardships, not having access to hardware and such, like computers and things, or because they need to work in a different environment due to the lack of opportunity to work on tech, professionally, they tend to move away from the community. They tend to move away from open source. Is this something you also noticed in your community? And if yes, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, it happened everywhere. But there's one thing that you need to understand about Namibia. Our industry is not that big, which means that if you are coming from the university, there is also a chance that you will be forced to stay in open source community for the next 5 years, which means that if you are into that space, it will also give you that opportunity to start loving that, maybe that space of open source, because you are not there for a short period of time, but you are there for the next 5 or 10 years, because the industry itself is forcing you to be there. Yeah, or maybe I can.
We have time for one very short last question.
All right, so following up on this, it seems that one of the pathways is to sometimes build businesses on up. So do you have examples of people that built businesses or companies from the knowledge they gathered in those communities?
Do you have examples of commercial or business success with software in Namibia in your community? Is that more or less the question?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. On the slide, I don't have it, but I can show you some also maybe pictures of how a company also contribute to this.
Muheue, thank you so much.
Okay.
Big round of applause for Muheue, please. Thank you, Muheue. Let's,